It's so quiet today. All right, officially, good morning, everyone. Welcome. You are at Eggs and Issues. We're in October. Thank you so much. The Orange Chamber and Visitors Bureau, thanks you so much for your time and coming in to hear our guest speaker today. Before we get that, something fun, though. Who attended the Orange Chamber Foundation's Blood Orange Ball this past Friday? Anyone from here go? So much fun. Okay, so we have a couple people. Elisa, sorry to call on you. Tell us, if you can just tell us a little bit about it.
Yes, the Blood Orange Ball is one of the signature fundraisers of the Orange Chamber of Commerce Foundation, which recently relaunched. And so all the proceeds go to support underprivileged children in our community. There's about 100 folks who turned out to the event this year. Everyone participated in the costume contest. It was a good time. So if you missed it, join us next year.
Thank you so much. All right, well, as you guys know, today's segment is going to be an open format. We are going to be doing a live filming, so this is our official Eggs and Issues podcast now. All that means is we're filming it, it's live, you guys are our audience, but that does not mean you can't ask questions. So our guest is here for you. So if there's a question that comes to mind, raise your hand. I'll do my best to get all the questions answered and get everyone out by the hard stop of 9, or at least we'll be finished formally by 9 o'clock. And with that, I am pleased to introduce Senator Dr. Stephen Choi.
Thank you.
Senator Choi, I'd love to just read a little bit about you first. Your office sent over a very short bio, so I'm going to read that, and then we'll get into some questions.
Leave some behind for me to say.
I'm going to try. All right, so we have Dr. Stephen S. Choi is a first-generation immigrant, educator, small business owner, and the current state senator representing California's 37th district. After serving in the South Korean Army, he immigrated to the United States to pursue his education, earning a master's degree and a PhD in library science. He went on to work as a librarian, served as an assistant professor at USC, and lead the technical service division at the Newport Beach Public Library. Dr. Choi later taught Korean language at UC Irvine, introduced Korean language courses at several Orange County colleges, founded and operated his Korean language school, and shared his skills as a Taekwondo instructor. With Choi's educational experience, the community urged him to run for the Irvine Unified School District trustee. After being elected as trustee on his first attempt, his political career blossomed. Stephen continued serving at various levels of government, including the Irvine City Councilman, Mayor, State Assembly, and now State Senator. The American dream is achievable, and Dr. Stephen Choi is living proof. Welcome again, Senator.
Thank you.
And I was looking for some photos. I love how the iPhone and all the phones send you like this then and now. And so I saw that you visited us a long time ago when you were an assemblyman. You were here in October 2019. And so that was a fun bunch. And so we're so glad to have you back. How are you feeling today?
Thank you for inviting me, and then also all the chamber members and other members here present. Throughout my long political career, which I never thought that would be the case in my original dream of becoming president of a university like Dr. Kim has achieved my dream as a president of Santiago College, but God had a different purpose, I guess, guided me to political arena. And first time I got elected, when was it? 1998 as first time. And ever since then, all the levels, as Bokenda has illustrated, people kept on electing me, so still I'm in it. And I feel very privileged and an honor to serve my community. And then as I go along, I can explain more for the purpose of my staying in politics is as a minority member. That's a very rare. It's a first time, first generation immigrant usually don't get involved in the political arena and the mainstream activities just because of language barrier and then also cultural differences and then exclusion, things like that. But I did run into many of those, but I just kept on going, and I never planned, but was kind of recruited into the political pond. I'm still treading the water to try to get out. We'll see what happens in 2028 when my Senate term will expire. The California law says you can serve only 12 years. I served on the assembly for 6 years. So by serving 4 years as a senator, that will make me 10 years. I have 2 years left, and the Senate term is 4 years. So you cannot run for another term for Senate. That's what they're telling me. And the run for assembly, which I'm not interested in. So I put for money collection purposes, fundraising purposes, watch out. I applied for, opened my account as a superintendent of a public instruction 2030. People are still giving me money. Run for it, and how old I will be. I'm the oldest senator right now, and ever got elected to California Senate. And I don't know whether I can survive until that time, but we'll see how that will lead me.
Wow, that's quite some information. That's a long time. We'll see what happens. That's many years from now. But let's talk about some big picture items. So nearly 1,000 bills went past the governor's office this year. From your perspective, what stood out the most about this legislative season where California is heading?
I think there are so many issues, but first of all, before we get into other issues, I need to brag about my own bill.
Okay.
Okay. I introduced 16 bills, and one became a 2-year bill, and the other one also became second was California constitutional amendment. That became also, I don't still understand that. I mean, that was a hot issue, yes. Last year when I introduced for this year, 2025, one of the constitutional amendment I proposed was that governors right to pardon their family members or himself, just like our President Biden did for his son. That was a very controversial issue, so that's why I introduced it. But they postponed it to next year, which means next session. I don't know whether they'll be taken up or not. Several people have volunteered to become the co-author of that, so we'll see. But one of them, SB 595, which was my least expected and then also less priority for me, which has something to do with the former Senator John Morlock. He is CPA, and his his self-volunteered work has been for, I think, a couple generations, over 20 years, I believe. He has been ranking the financial status, stability of the each cities and the counties by collecting their financial report, and he had the trouble of collecting the data. Some cities would not submit their financial report, annual report, after 2-3 years, some even beyond that. So why not introduce a bill to mandate it when you were a senator? Let me give it a try, and which I tried, and it passed. in essence, it's mandating all the cities, counties to submit their annual report, certified annual report, within 10 months after the fiscal year has ended. If they don't comply with that based upon their city budget, they will have to pay penalty like $1,000 or $2,500 or $5,000 based upon their the budget category they are in. So it has some teeth in that. So Senator Morlag is very happy about that. So he has some grip over the effort that he's doing based upon the data he's collecting. And surprisingly, that one with no opposition vote at all from the Senate and the Assembly, and then also governor signed into law. So at least one bill out of 16, it passed into law. So I'm happy about that. And the other one was that the, as I said, the constitutional amendment. I hope that next year we can deal with that.
Right.
When they allow that assigning into appropriate committees.
Right. Well, I would think financial transparency is really important. So that was hopefully something very important that people will follow and not get fined.
Yeah.
They'll be able to get that information. Another one that your office had told me was a major development was the CEQA reform in housing. So that was Senate Bill 79, focused on boosting housing production near transportation corridors. And I know there's been a lot of talk about that, especially on the news and on the different outlets. Can you talk to us a little bit about what that's about
that
and how that will affect the
bill
county?
was sponsored by Senator Scott Wiener, who is, I guess, a leader in the affordable housing developments, and which is a very hot issue and an important issue, which I support. Wherever that's possible, we need to provide affordable housing, but that's a very complicated topic. But this particular bill was to allow high density housing in the transportation corridor, where a lot of public transportation, such as train stations, etc. So that has a lot of controversy and resistance from the local governments because that's a local issue. Every city has their own issues and the policies, zoning policies, why state has to dictate it. But as you know, state government, as necessary, they try to govern every aspect of a local government and they try to set the policies. So that was one of them, and he worked very hard on that. He approached me several times. I guess he thought my vote was important. So through that process, I became to get to know him better personally and develop the personal relationship. So I think I forgot the process, how I voted for it. Initially, I voted no, and eventually I might have voted, I may have my note here that I stayed off on that. So eventually it passed because Republicans, as you know, the key issue is that our both houses, Assembly and the Senate, are all dominated, 85% of them are all Democrats. I don't know how many people are here Democrats, but you need to think about what the imbalance of the power at the state legislature is good for you or not. I believe strongly that the balance of power is important. You know, sometimes Democrats can control either state or the federal level, or the other way around, so that the balance of checks and balances can be achieved. And then also based upon the merit of certain bills can be debated, and they can approach me and for me to consider and negotiate, and based upon the merit of that, I may vote for it or stay off or vote against it. But at this time, that's a very rare case that the opponents, the Democrats, will need to approach me asking for my vote, because many times, 99% of times, to my impression is that if the author is a Democrat, so Democratic, all 85 members will rarely defeat that bill introduced, and therefore they can ignore me. But Senator Scott Wiener, for some reason, he felt uneasy about his bill status getting the support from his Democratic members. So he approached me several times, so asked me my vote, and that swayed me into not directly objecting to it. And right now, it has been passed and also signed into law.
Okay. I feel like something that goes right hand in hand with housing is students and children, and food for those kids. So this year brought new legislation about student health, removing ultra-processed foods from schools. How do you feel that's an important step for California schools?
Okay, yeah, that one I supported, I believe, and because there are thousands of bills, so I cannot remember all the votes that how we casted. But that particular topic is as far as student food for K to 12 at the schools. I think that's a very important, and even though it has a lot of implications in business-wise, but the bottom line is that helping the students, not feeding ultra-processed food. I think that is, we all know that that's not healthy for students. So that's the reason. I think it was a very hotly debated, and eventually it was passed, and then I think they were also signed into law by governor. And then I think that's a good thing. Now we are taking the right direction. And when I was in Irvine School Board, that issue, even 20 years ago, came up, and all along the way, that's again, you can decide by each school board that's what kind of a nutrition they will provide for students in their school district, but always try to come from the top down to the nitty gritty issues. So that's another issue, just like a housing issue.
Okay. Now, if you don't mind, we have a special election next week, I believe November 4th, which is Tuesday, and Proposition 50 and the redistricting is what's on the ballot, and there's a lot of attention to it. From your perspective, what should voters understand about this proposal and how it might affect local communities?
Do you think my opinion will sway your votes?
We just want more information.
I hope so. Even last night, we had the Orange County Republican Party had a rally in Anaheim to promote a no against Prop 50. Is there anyone who's not familiar with the history and what the content of that is? So I can explain better.
Yeah, we can start from the beginning.
So everybody knows about that issue. We meaning that the Republicans label that is Governor Newsom's power grab. I don't know whether you will agree with that or not, but as you know, our governor has his own vision of becoming a candidate for the president. And his thinking is always dealing with national issues and trying to get the attention. That's what we believe is trying to get the national attention and the power grab. I think it has, as you all know, that Texas has decided to redraw their districts. And then I had my understanding is that I don't know details about the Texas case, is that they had some loopholes that was subject to lawsuit about the redistricting. And therefore, President Trump asked if they can redraw to make sure that Texas used to be a very red state, but slowly become pink state, and it's like a lot of California Democrats have moved into Texas, and they are becoming very shaky, and still they have a chance to elect a more Republican congressman there. So they are doing their redistricting, and which they call as a gerrymandering, and many people complain about that. That this gerrymandering is no good, but our law is originally our Prop 50 was origined. If and when Texas does this and that, and later some other cities, some other states have joined, just like Texas. So they changed it from Texas to any state that does redistricting. Then California will do the same thing. We'll fight the fire with a fight. That's what he's claiming. And my thinking about that is that just because somebody else does the wrong things, do we have to follow wrong things? Then I saw somebody running through red light, and should I do the same thing? It's similar things. Two wrongs don't make right things right. So California should be. I mean, what they are claiming, supermajority is claiming is a model state. To me, as far as I'm concerned, in many cases, the wrong direction is the model state. This is another case that following, wrong policies, some of the state does try to make it right. It doesn't make. I don't think two things will make it right. And as you know, that California has only all total 9 members of congressman, and this particular redistricting will result in most likely loss of at least 5 Republican representation. So that means Congress will most likely lose the majority seats, or very narrower than at the same time. You may remember at the first period of Trump administration, he fought for 4 years. How many times of impeachment attempt? Was it 2 times or 3 times throughout his 4-year career? I mean, the nation was just in turmoil with that kind of effort. If this time, because right now policies that the Trump is doing, some people cheer, some people condemn his, especially like ICE attack on the illegal immigrants, things like that. Everybody will have their own opinions. I don't think I can change your mind, but as far as I'm concerned, he's still doing the right thing as a leader of the country. I mean, his first job is keeping the integrity of the country. Integrity comes from the border control. Last 4 years on the Biden administration, I thought there was 10 million, but a couple of days ago, I heard on TV that about 25 million people, illegal people, have settled the last 4 years by open border. Is that correct for the nation, taxpaying citizens in this country? But if the majority flips into Democrats, that's going to happen the rest of the 2-year period after next year's election. Can we afford to see another battle that Trump administration, what he is doing to undo and set the policies correct to his view, his vision of this country, trying to go there, but he may be attacked under majority rule of the Congress by being the target of the impeachment again. So I think this is not just a California issue, this is a national issue. As you vote for it, that will endanger Trump's rest of the period, the next 2 years after next year's election. So that's why I think to correct, to keep at least next 4 years under Trump administration, where the incorrect way to try to do the right things, the correct way this nation has to go. So I think if you believe in that Trump's policy, I think we need to keep the majority, stronger majority in Congress. So that's the reason I strongly ask people to oppose to Prop 50. That's my position.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much for that. Let's, 1 second. Time for questions. I'm like, what time is it? Does anyone have any questions? Everyone's silent today. No questions. I still have more questions.
What about I try to illustrate my priorities. If I say legislative priorities this year, when I for the first time set my foot in Sacramento, was that because there was right after my election, which I experienced was so bad. Let's do some corrections if I can. And then I knew that the fate of my bills, something to do with the election integrity, is not going to go very
Correct.
far.
You didn't want to speak about elections.
Yeah, but anyway, as a super minority, what my role, what the Republicans can do in Sacramento right now is that becoming a squeaky wheel noise, or what I call is village barking dog roar. We bark at the bark, bark, bark to the passing train. The train is not going to stop just because the village dog is barking at the train. It'll pass through. That's what my role is, a village barking role. I, bark at the passing train. The majority bills will pass through, but I need to make a noise that the village people will know that the train is coming through. So watch out. That's my role. And when I wake up enough people for them to know the train, the bad train, or the dangerous train is coming through, then you need to watch out and step away from the railroads. So 4 bills I introduced was that from SB 405, 406, 407, 408, easy to remember straight. And 405 had to do with government. It was a voter ID issue is very important. Right now, I think, I don't know, whatever reason, Democratic members are not agreeing with the Republican views that voters should be identified, that they are qualified voters to begin with. Okay, let me explain. I have too much to say about this issue. Right now, it's simply voter ID issue is that when people come show up to vote, to show their ID. So if you are Smith, then you are Smith, you live in that address, a simple identification. That is at least the thing we can do. But that is not all the solutions, because of the beginning, the stem of the problem is that if this is the application, many people have seen the voter registration form. So in there, you see what to vote, to be able to vote. What is it? You have to be 18 years old, and then you're a citizen, right? And you gotta register. When you register, there's a column that says, "Are you a U.S. citizen? Yes or no?" Under the penalty of perjury, you shall mark there. And if I mark yes or no, and then I submit to the registrar's office, do you know what the registrar of voters will verify my citizenship or not? Does anybody know? To my knowledge, most likely not. They trust you having marked as a citizen. and that they will process and that they will issue you will register you as a qualified voter. But that is the beginning with the problem, because when you go to DMV and you present certain documentations, and then I think that's even more difficult to apply for driver's license than applying to register to vote, because the citizenship verification, the check is that there's a no check, no documentation. I don't have to bring my copy or the real copy of the passport or the citizenship or birth certificate. So that is the problem. And there was nothing to do. That's another issue that I want to deal with next time when I introduce a bill, because there's no process of checking origin of the validity of the citizen that you are claiming. But this bill, because of my staff members told me that it had to do with the SB 1174, which was another senator from Irvine, my predecessor, David Min, introduced, revoking all the local governments' right to enact their own policies to require voter IDs, such as the city that notoriously, you know that in Orange County, which city is that? Huntington Beach. You know that Huntington Beach has been in the battle, to enact their own ordinance to require. Still, they are in the fight that they have defeated the court challenges several times, and that they're going to implement it. Next year, it'll be very interesting to see. So state attorney general has sued Huntington Beach time after time, several times. Still, the Huntington Beach, won. And to repeal that, instead of simply asking for voter ID through my bill was let's ask, let the local governments decide their own fate, whether to require voter ID or not. That was also one step I stepped back and let the local governments decide. Guess what? I'm the only member in the election committee out of 5. I'm the only Republican. And I presented all my 4 bills, which I'm going to describe the rest of the 3 bills. And then I made a presentation, and for the bill to be voted on, somebody has to make a motion. I'm the member of the committee. Can I make a motion? As far as I'm concerned, I'm the proposal of the bills, and then I'm the member. I should be able to make a motion to vote on my bill that I just presented. But the rule is that if you are presenter of the bill, even if you are the member of the committee, you cannot make a motion. And all 4 Democrats, they were silent. Nobody had what we call is nobody made a courtesy motion. Even if you may vote no to that, they could, somebody could have made a courtesy motion, but nobody made that. You know why? Because they didn't want to leave the record of having voted no to a good bill. They could not defend their position why they voted no when they face their constituents. I have so much to talk.
There's like so much. Don't get me started on parliamentarian rules. Let me go through. Wait, but before we go there, because we have our business community here, I wanted to ask you some business-friendly questions, if you don't mind, just really, because we have just limited time left. I have one more question about California. So I know that your team had mentioned to me that businesses were really important to you, and you were really aiming to make California a more business-friendly state. And if you could provide some color on that, that would be amazing.
Okay. One also effort I did was that I went through city government and mayor. Everything was. I tried to become. I knew as a small business owner. Still, I do have a small business owner. Kumon Math and the Reading Center how difficult it is to run a business in California because of the high taxes and regulations. So try to be on the consumer side, the business side. And one of the first things is that as a businessman, first thing you're gonna register, you have to pay. How much do you have to pay?
Your registration, yes.
Is how much do you have to pay annually? I think that's $800.
It's wow.
Right? The
Yeah.
filing fee, right?
8 or 9, yeah.
So I want to promote, anybody can try their own businesses. How about instead of a zero, if you make a zero, then anybody will do to make a joke out of it. So maybe $800 to $80. Then that's a little bit serious money, who's gonna, spend the $80 for nothing unless they are serious about it. So I attempted that. But even then, that bill didn't go through. So that's one of the bills I try to do is that undo the regulations, do a lot of tax credits, such as businesses. So if you are running the small businesses, the retail businesses, so many retail burglaries try to attack, smash and grab up to what the $900 something you can grab. That's what a joke in this country. So we passed Prop 36, but 36 is not funded to implement that. That is the problem. So I try to introduce so many bills to lower the tax. So burglary alarm systems businesses may use to spend money to strengthen their security. That should be business expense, and the whole money, entire money up to $250 should be credited, tax credits that was defeated. So you can see that's such as common sense bills they defeat. Another thing was that if you are the fire victim, like Palace Ace and Eaton Fire, that that the insurance, you may have a good fire insurance. If you get the fire insurance settlement, that whatever $1 million you may have, what money is that for you to rebuild it, right? That $1 million becomes an income, and they tax upon that settlement. Is that right? Guess what? They defeated my bill, but they thought that was a good bill, and the governors of bill, they stored it, the exact items in their policy, budget bills. So indirectly, I helped the governor to set up to do the right things. So if you are a victim of that, I contributed that idea to the governor. So these are the illustrations. I try to stand on the business side. When I was a mayor of Irvine, I formed the mayor's business council in the small and the medium, small, large sizes, even including Irvine Company. Every month, by invitation of the host, we rotated and visited the business site and then listened to their issues, of what the issues are, and try to solve. I got so many calls from businesses who are struggling with the tenant improvement process. Why so delayed? And the certain companies could not even buy the certain building because of a trip caps placed on certain building areas. So every one of them, as much as possible, I intervened. As a mayor, if I intervene and try to solve, all of them solved. And the tenant improvement has been, delayed months, but it's solved in a few days. Why may it requires a mayor's attention rather than promoting the business is important for the city? City has to really pay attention because the time is money. They need to promote in the process as quickly as possible. And Massimo is another company that billion-dollar company. They were about to buy a building in Lake Forest because they could not get the permission in Irvine, but I got involved and then I retained it in Irvine. That's the illustration. I try to stand on the business side. So if you run into any trouble, call me. I'll try to step in, and then if I can solve the problem.
For sure. Thank you so much. So we're at time, and I know some people have to get off to work, so I'm going to do a couple of quick announcements if you don't mind.
Oh, sure.
Just a couple quick ones. Okay, so before we close, a couple things. We have Business Networking Group the first Wednesday. That's going to be on the 5th of November at the Peel at Hotel Farah. We have ribbon cuttings. Today at noon, we have the $1 Million Thrift Store near Marjan's place. So let's go over there at noon today. We have Discovery Behavioral Health on the 4th. UPS store number 5432 on December 2nd. And then we have Providence St. Joseph Urgent Care on December 11th. Mixers, we have Laventina's Big Cheese Pizza and Rose Bakery Cafe on November 20th. Networking, we have Scrabble Networking for introverts on November 19th. Foundation events, bingo, which we love. Bingo is going to be at Green Cheek Beer on November 12th. And as far as the office, we're heading into the huge holiday season. So there are going to be a few weeks the office is closed. I know for sure the end of November and then also the last 2 weeks in December. As far as in-person events, we won't see you back here until January. So be prepared for some January speakers. It's going to be a long time till I see you guys in person. Thank you so much. I so appreciate you for coming today.